Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fiber Stitch. We're going to have a little look at Creative Canvas or Needlepoint or tapestry, some people call it. These are projects I'm showing you that my mother does, and she does them beautifully. It starts with a piece of open weave canvas. It's quite stiff, and we dye it or colour it in some way. And then add these stitches, these simple stitches. Sometimes my mum makes these lovely bags. Aren't they great? I really like experimenting with this canvas because it's stiff and it's got a lot of body and you can do a lot with it. Here's one that I did with really interesting novelty yarns. And instead of the traditional stitches, I just did some little dots and dashes and some French knots, whatever I felt like. Now you can easily look up these stitches, these wonderful stitches that combine in this grid, and it can look really effective. Here's a little view of some of the stitches that are very simple, but you can find more, and you can layer up different colors, and it can add a whole new world to your stitching. But I am just having a look here and thinking, well, what I'm wanting to show you is something a whole lot easier. I quite like photographing things when I just want ideas. And that was the basis of this little bit that I started to make. And I'm thinking it's something very like this that we'll do today. It's good to play and good to experiment. I've dyed the canvas, so we've got a nice colour to start with, and that means that, you know, if we don't have to fill the whole thing up with threads, it'll be as it is. I'm also going to be using some of this linen because I love linen. I love the way it does this. So I'm going to pull bits apart so I have these wonderful shapes. And somewhere, sideways, that way, I'm not sure, but I'm going to use it. So I'll just fray it out until it's an interesting shape like that. And can you see that I can still stitch through it in places? I might like it over to one side, I might like it diagonal, I might like it across. But for the moment, whilst we're trying to sort out how we can do this, I've cut some interesting bits of thread. I've got some pieces of wool. I thought I would use the wool because this is called Creative Canvas or Needlepoint. The creative part is that we're doing things a little bit differently. And so I thought, you know, something like that would be nice couched on, perhaps. Yeah, we can still do the traditional stitches, but sometimes it's nice to have something a little different. So I don't know where we want them, but I like the idea as well. So there's some threads. Now if we've got a flat thread, we can use that. That's more like a ribbon, isn't it? And we would use that for a very simple kind of stitch. There's another one, look. So there's a few different types there. We've got thick and thin. All different types lend themselves to different things. I'm not using the right needle. You should really use a chenille needle that has a nice blunt tip. But I just want to get started. Now I'm just going to somehow attach that. I've done a knot and I am holding it underneath, and I'm going to trap it by going over like that. And what will happen, hopefully, is that I'm going over that little string, and I can trim it later once I'm sure it's through. See, isn't that pretty? So then I would go underneath some other part, making sure that I trap this little knot again. I can feel with my fingers that the knot is below where I am there, so that's okay. I can now trim that. And you see how I could spread it out if I wanted to. I could do interesting shapes. Continuing down, attaching it here and there. I could split it in two if I wanted. See, like that. I might do one like that and just see what happens. This is totally experimental things. And if you can see, I'm catching this linen in at the same time, which I'm quite pleased about, so that's good. I don't care that those threads come loose from that linen. I'll either include them in the design or I'll cut them out later. Don't worry me. And the good thing about this nice stiff canvas is that you don't need hoops or anything like that. Just pick it up and do it whenever you like. Have a little pack that a little bag that you pop it in and take it with you and do a bit on the train. Really does, it's very easy to just do on the run like that. There. So we got one in. I could use that same thread, or I could use a different thread. And so maybe, you see here, I'm just going to do a little couple of stitches to end it off. And then you can trap it under a few others once it's got a few more stitches on there. That's another way to end off. It's just doing that. Okay. This one's an orange, and I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to couch that down. Once I've done that, I'm going to start with doing some of the more traditional stitches, but I'm not going to use just those stitches. I'm just going to use whatever I feel like. Like here, you can see that I've used that orange that I used to couch, and I've done a little bit of chain stitch. So here we've got one of these flat ribbons. I think I'll take it up behind that where I've put the yarn, and that will be my knot in this instance, because I'm trying to not have you be able to see it. Oh, is that right or not? Oh yeah, there we go. But because this one twists and turns a bit, I'm going to just do a very simple stitch. I don't want it to twist, so I'm just going to, that's why I'm keeping it simple. Just do a little stripe like that. There. And then I want to do one both sides. For 3 that are side by side. Let's just do some little random stitches. A little bit of seed stitch. I think if you have the right colours, then really a lot of it does not matter at all. You can, it's all about not putting the colour, balancing your colour, I suppose. All of these things that I do are really good expressions of colour and how to use it. See how I'm traveling with this brown? Maybe I'll do a little something over here as well. I haven't all clumped it in one spot. I'm making the most of it. I'm getting a little bit of it in different places. Where I have travelled underneath, I've tried to make it that I'm either behind something, so you can't see it through these little gaps in the mesh. You know, behind the lovely linen. That was a good spot for it, where it couldn't be seen. Now, if I wanted to do anything more, we'll try this. I wouldn't want to do anything too involved with this flat thread, but you can do a tent stitch, which is just the diagonal. So, get the right hole there. These are used to fill in areas or to do a line. Can you see how each time I'm going diagonal like that? I'll do another one. When I've gone as far as I can go, I'll use my needle and travel back underneath these to end it off. Here we go. So I've decided I want to do something here, and I'm going to use 5. I'm going to make it 5 by 5. So I'm going to go count them with my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's my first. And then my seconds would be beside it, and one to the other side here. So we're basically working our way over. And where it is in the middle, it'll just be straight up and down. There. And over to the side there. And what I have there, that's quite attractive. Can you see? I think that one's called a Rhodes stitch. So the way we're doing it is very forgiving. We don't care if we're perfect. It's going to forgive us because this is a more organic approach. I might do another one there. It's not really my bag, being precise. More about the creative flow. Right, let's bring in some of this lovely burnt orange and do some more bars like we did before with the brown ribbon. They look nice. And maybe we'll follow it up with a few crosses here and there. Or one of the more fancy ones. You can look these stitches up. They really are very effective, especially in my mum's work, which is you have to cover the whole thing. I just like cheating a little bit and not having to do all of the stitches. But they do look very nice. And are well worth learning a few of them and getting them under your belt to use in your other crafts. Whilst I have this green on, I think I'll do a few other things. I'm just going to do some little bars, little tiny ones this time. I'll just use, 3 holes instead of the longer ones I did with the other colours, and it's a thinner thread. But that's enough. It does something. And you can just keep building it up. And practicing some of these lovely stitches, but like I say, you don't have to fill up the whole thing. That's why I've coloured it. It's coloured the background, and you can do that easily. Sometimes we paint them, sometimes we dye them. You can do a lot of things actually. We might do a little bit more of this lovely craft, but it's really just to give you a little taste and to see where it might lead you. Now, one thing you can do is mix up your colours a little bit. I'm just going to do one of the standard stitches here that will create this lovely little square, and I'll do a few of them, and I'm doing it in this brown. It's similar to what we did to start with actually, where you're just crossing over each time, and it just produces a lovely little square. Now I've got some aqua here, and see some of these bars that we did. This is another thing you can do, is get a different colour, and you can just give it a little pull in at the center, and it looks quite nice like that as well. I like aqua, I like that bit of teal in there. So I'm going to use it up again. I'm going to do a little bit of chain stitch, and whilst we're talking about adding two different colors onto the one stitch, just have a look here, and we've done that stitch, and now we're just going to do a little bit of orange in the corners. Speed this up now, but you can see how handy having that little grid there of holes is. Yeah, makes it very neat. I'm just going to do a little bit of that tent stitch in between my squares, maybe join them up a wee bit. Just different ideas. If I go back the other way, I turn that tent stitch into little crosses. So, very versatile. Love this craft. Don't do it anywhere near enough. Can you see how that brown was a little bit on the dull side? And that orange has really perked it up. Doesn't take much. How about I do a little border around this one? That'll make it show up. Now, have we all seen those half-finished tapestry pictures that our grandparents did, and maybe we did? Well, you'll see them in the op shops and the charity shops. Those ones that were never finished because they were just too big. And you had to do every single stitch. Well, that's why I like this, is because I have coloured the background and I don't have to do every single stitch. I can add as much or as little as I like, and that way it's very therapeutic. I don't have to feel that I have to finish it. I can just pick it up any time I like, add something completely different, turn it into something else. So that's why I enjoy this kind of thing. It allows you to be creative and to enjoy it rather than think of it as a chore. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and we've whet your appetite a little bit for creative canvas work, needlepoint, tapestry, call it what you will. They're all related, and I thank you for watching. If you have liked it, don't forget to press like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Who knows what we'll be playing with next time. Thank you again for watching.